let's roll straight first into Cyberpunk GTA PS4 edition.
Des, tell me about your experience.
So, I'll start this with saying I am one of the lucky ones to get my hands on a 3080. I managed to get hold of one.
Nice try, capturing the
I managed to snipe one when it went on sale with a UK retailer. I don't know how the fuck I did it, but I did it, and I didn't believe I'd done it until it showed up on my doorstep. And even when I was installing the bloody thing, I was still like, "No, this ain't real."
I'm dreaming. I gotta be fucking dreaming.
Yeah, you see it peel off.
I'm
It just
looking down at my
2080.
machine now, and there it is glowing. So it is in there. So I think Senpai's handed to me because he knows I've probably put the most hours in so far.
Yeah.
I've put just over 40 hours in. I have completed the main story, all the side
I'm
quests,
actually
and
not that
I've
far
gotten
behind you actually in terms of
I've
hours.
gotten all the main endings.
Cool.
So I've gone through all the branching endings. I've done the majority of the main story quests, bar one, I believe.
Okay.
And yeah, so I've got a long way to go. I mean, the game is huge. I won't give it. It's absolutely huge. I've probably only touched a fraction of the actual game, but my experience has been positive. I know the game has been shat upon incredibly, but that's primarily.
Can we just also qualify this by? Obviously, you've said this, but you are playing on PC.
Yes. I feel incredibly bad for anyone who's trying to play this on any of the base systems because they have had.
He's put his 3080 into a PS4, and it.
That's one hell of a jerry rig, man.
Whoa. No.
You should
Anyone
see the
who's trying to
graphics on
play
that.
this on a base system, I'm so sorry because you've been completely shafted.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
But I think everyone here has played it on the PC. So unfortunately, by now, if you're listening to this, you're going to have heard what's happened with the console versions. Sony's pulled it from the PlayStation Store, which is huge, considering games like Anthem, for Christ's sake, didn't get pulled, and that game was bricking systems, for Christ's sake.
That game was horrendous.
So, as a PC player and someone who's stuck a good few hours in, there is a wonderful game here. There is a wonderful game here. It is about a year too early.
Right.
I think this game needed a little bit more time in the oven. It has its problems. As I said earlier, I haven't had any crashes, but I've had some soft locks. One of the missions near the end of the game, I had to replay a particular part of that 4 times because the door that was meant to open at the end of it would not open. It was not giving me the prompt to open the door. So 3 times I snuck through the area I needed to, took out all the guards, got to the point where I needed to jack in and progress to the next part of the area. But that door wouldn't open. The wishing marker was telling me to go through this door, but the door did not have a prompt to press a key. So I thought, okay, 4th time lucky, I'm just going to go in and mow everyone down. So I did. Went in, guns blazing, mowed everyone down. Would you not believe it? I could open the door. So I was like, I'll never know what actually was meant to happen if I didn't do that.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go into any spoilers here for many reasons. I know all you guys haven't actually finished yet, so I can't discuss spoilers as much as I really want to discuss endings and what you thought of them. That'll have to wait.
Yeah.
Till next year.
Obviously, we were promised a lot of things. We were promised branching paths. We were promised decisions being made, having huge impacts on the rest of the game. We were promised a lot of stuff that unfortunately isn't quite there. I mean, I don't know your guys' experience. You guys are going to be playing differently to how I've been playing. You guys are going to probably be making different decisions. Because at the end of the day, the role-playing aspect of this game is great. Being able to role-play a character is fantastic. And being able to play the kind of V that you want to play. You can either play the hard ass, you can play the softy, however you want to do it. There are the romance options for male and female V. I want to go into them, but again, spoilers, can't go there just yet, so I'll leave that be.
A little bit soon, yeah.
Well, to be fair, I'm on the romance option for one, but I think because I'm playing the male version of V, there's only technically one you can go with.
That is correct. If you're male V, there is only one romance.
No,
actually, there are 2.
Really?
That's wrong. There are 2. There's a female character you can get with, and there is a male character you can get with.
Oh, okay. Well,
Hey,
But
fucking
as,
female
but
V.
as female V, there are again. Actually, as female V, there are.
it's 9.
It's not that many. No.
No, I know
as
there's
female
at
V, I
least-
think there's
at least
2 or 3.
yeah.
I can't remember. And I was quite disappointed because I was chasing one of the characters as male V, and then I got all the way to the last of her main quests, and she shoved me off. She was like, "Sorry, you're not my type," and I was like,
Was it was it the engineer?
"Yes."
Yeah, see,
I
I
wanted
would do
to get with her, and then I went. You got the prompt to try and get onto her, and she was like, "Sorry, dude, you're not my type." I was like,
yeah. Oh my god, the ultimate cock block.
But the end of her side story is very sweet, so it did make me smile. So it kind of made up for it. So I'll give it that.
Yeah.
But on my because I finished the game and all the major paths, I did go down that particular female romance option.
Mhm.
And if you go down that particular path for the end, it's a very I won't spoil anything, but yeah,
I am literally
it made me
halfway
smile.
through that romance option. I
It
literally
made me smile.
somebody put up a YouTube video on the romance option for the male V on if you do Street Kid, and I was like, okay, and it was like, oh, I'm halfway through the romance storyline. I've got a lot of work to do.
If you go down the path near the end with them, it'll make you
Mhm.
smile. It's nice.
Okay.
I won't. There's just one ending that I really want to discuss, but because it is a spoiler. But there is a bad end where you can just decide to go against everything the game is telling you, and I won't spoil anything because
Wow.
I'm trying to keep it together here.
So it's kind of like a nuke megaton option of Fallout.
It is literally. I don't like any of my options. I'm just going to take the nuclear one.
Oh wow.
And the credit sequence that plays after you take the nuclear option actually breaks your heart.
Oh no way! Seriously, I might do a
It's
save for that.
save. You'll know when you're at the final mission because the game makes it quite clear in the dialogue options.
Yeah.
So make a save point just before you go into that mission, and then you can basically play out the last bit however you like, and you can take all the different paths.
From what
I'm going to throw in a quick qualifier here. I'm going to throw in a quick qualifier before you carry on. I have played over the launch weekend. I am not playing at the moment. I've uninstalled the game. I'm going to let this simmer down. I'm going to let all of the hot fixes and the patches and everything like that come down, and maybe wait about a year before I pick it up again.
Okay.
Really? Oh, that's fair enough. And I know there was a. So, speaking, obviously, we mentioned earlier that the PlayStation Store yoinked the game from the store. There was actually a patch that went live. I think it was yesterday. Yesterday for Xbox.
PC
today. It was a 9 gig,
today,
9 gig one today. Yeah.
Yeah. PC was, I think, a 17 gig ones. I know Phenom told me about it, and I was like, oh.
It was a 9 gig patch today.
Oh, okay. All right. So there was a 9.1. So there are updates up. So I think that's just like I saw the patch the notes and what they were mainly doing. Like for PC, I was like, it doesn't seem like there's really much for PC, but it was sort of like I think one of them was like an executable file that needed to be addressed in the game. But
most of it is basically stopping quests from breaking.
Yeah, I guess so.
A lot of it is just stopping quests from breaking and making sure characters do what they should do. Just before I bring up another quick point, has everyone made it through Act 1? Jack, I'm not sure if you have.
Nope. Prologue. I have. So I'm
Act 1 being up to when the game opens.
Yeah. So essentially, that's the prologue mission.
Yes,
I've done up to the hotel and a little bit after that, and then I started doing side missions.
Okay, so that is Act 1. So you've gone through the hotel.
Senpai, you've done prologue.
Yep.
Tex, I don't think you've done the hotel storyline yet. Yeah.
Probably not, because my current story quest is that obviously for anyone that hasn't played it, I am going to mention something I am doing here. For warning, slight spoilers at the very, very start, but I started with Corpo.
Boo! I mean, yeah, well done.
I went Corpo as well.
I was hoping to keep some of the money. Apparently, you don't. So,
that's sad.
Yeah, exactly. But I am at the point at the moment where I've met Dex. I've got the droid that he was after. I've got the droid that he was actually looking for.
Yeah.
I have screwed over.
Oh, wrong droid.
I've screwed over Militech ever so slightly. I've got that original woman in trouble. And I'm now at the point where I need to do the heist.
Right.
Yeah.
So you were just before.
You're just before. Yeah.
Yeah. I need to do the shard, or at least I need to get the shard, and then I think after that I'm able to exit the West China Kabuki area and go over to the other parts.
Yeah.
So, but at the moment, all I've been doing is literally clearing up that entire part of the area of side quests, NCPD options, and all of that lot. And I'm currently sitting at level 13, which I think is slightly overpowered for where I need to be. But that's what I've been. That's what I've been doing.
Playing on normal
I
difficulty.
think I got up to about 11,
anyway.
so yeah, you're doing okay.
Yeah. I think I rolled into the heist mission at about the level you're at, but I didn't do sides and so forth. I was at that level and I rolled in. Oh, was that? I just I think it was about 12.
What I wanted to mention is an ever so slight spoiler for Jack. It's not a story spoiler per se, but it's something that I expected to be able to do that I found out you can't do. So, again, slight spoilers for anyone who hasn't played here, for the prologue bit anyway, up to the point where the game opens. You're given the choice after seeing Judy Evelyn presents you with an offer of her own to backstab Dex.
Yes.
Right? Now, in the trailers, it was implied heavily that you then were given the choice to go and backstab Dex and give her the chip, or go with Dex and refuse her offer. I found out after today, starting on a second character, I've opened up a second V. I've started a female V because I want to play through on a female side. And I found out after doing that opening area completely differently to how I did it previously, that unlike it was led to believe in the trailers, you cannot backstab Dex.
Really?
Oh,
You're not given the option anymore to go to Evelyn. When you complete the hotel mission, you will always be dropped off at the point in front of Dex.
Oh.
Which kind of irritated me because I wanted to find out what happened if you didn't. And the reason I think the reason why that is there is an event that happens after the heist, immediately afterwards, that I don't think they could change because there's kind of a twist in that next scene.
Yeah.
Could that work with Evelyn?
Well,
I think that's why they did it.
Here's my question on that one then. Now, obviously, it was always heavily hinted at the E3 trailers and everything else that no matter what conversation you are in, you always have the option of just upping and leaving that conversation. Can you not do that with Dex at the end?
Can't do that with a lot of characters.
Yeah, a lot of them you won't be
able
to.
A lot of conversations you can't just exit out.
So here's the thing I have to bring up though. This is the thing that I don't know if you noticed it when you were playing Daz or when you played the Senpai and Tex. When you were in a conversation and you would obviously you get the multiple choice and you're like, oh, which one should I choose? You go to pick and then they're like, yo, Mr. V, you want to say something? You're like, mother trucker, give me a second. I'm reading the options here.
The countdown was like 5 seconds. Like you have to instantly reply.
I think that is a nice touch that if you do hesitate a minute, they do kind of go.
Wasn't even a minute, dude. It was like 2 seconds. I was just literally reading the first line. I'm like, oh, what are my options? Mr. B, you want to say something? I'm like,
I mean, yes, there are a few choices where you have to be quick, but they are relevant.
Yeah.
But
those ones come with an actual like bar timer.
Yeah, timer bar.
Yeah.
The problem that
Dex will remember this.
Yeah, I do find this has been my Dex remember. Can you imagine? I do find that sometimes when you're in those conversations and you're trying to do something and you're taking a second, there's a lot of like cutting in on conversations in the game. Like one person will start something, you'll say something, then they'll start another conversation. You're like,
that's a bug at the minute.
I was just literally reading that, and then this started, and now I'm like, I'm 3 sentences into another conversation before.
There was a massive problem with Fallout 4 for that when it first came out.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. But you've done about how many hours? Did you say about 40, 45?
Yeah,
plus?
40 hours, and I have the storyline complete on all but 2. I found out there is an ending I missed, but when I read up about it, I was like, I'm not particularly fussed about seeing that. I don't want to do all this just to see this slight deviation. I'm quite happy knowing.
What's your level and street level at?
On my main character, my street cred is like level 36.
Okay,
which is out of 40. 40's max street cred.
50's max.
Is it 50?
Yeah, 50 for
I thought
street
it was 40.
50
all right, well, I'm about 36, 37.
Okay. Because everywhere I've gone,
I'm at 22.
You're at 22?
I'm at 22.
To be fair, dude, like street cred is really freaking easy to earn.
It's incredibly easy to earn.
Yeah, it's so easy to earn.
You get it for doing everything.
Yeah. My problem is that I'm a very, very poor street kid because I tend to spend what I have very quickly.
See, this is another problem that I had with the game. I cruised through the game, being given no incentive to go and upgrade anything. The game at no point gave me any incentive to go to a Ripperdoc. It gave me no incentive to go to a gunsmith, because I would constantly pick up weapons and stuff that were better just by constantly progressing through the game. And at no point did I struggle with any gun that I was given. At one point, when a mission took me to a Ripperdoc, I might look through his wares and see what he had. But that was quite early on, and I didn't have much money, so I grabbed what I could afford, and that was that. But at no point does the game incentivize you to go back and improve your upgrades and stuff. You can quite comfortably cruise through it with the basics
The base
that you're
upgrades.
given.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you branch off and go and do all the upgrades, that changes your experience significantly.
It's like beating Minecraft with a wood pickaxe.
Wow.
The game on normal anyway wasn't particularly challenging. I found the majority of the deaths I encountered were either due to bugs or were due to a fight that I simply wasn't quite prepared for him doing that particular thing, and the next time round I knew what he was going to do, so I could run.
Yeah.
I ran out of ammo.
Yeah,
and I ran out of ammo.
I like
How
you.
did you run out of ammo?
You can.
In the very last part of the hotel area, I ran out of ammo. And
that's because you have to drop your guns, though.
Yeah,
I've got like 300 plus ammo for every weapon type.
Well,
minimum.
just to let you know, in the hotel mission, you have to drop your weapons. So there you go. That's when you'll encounter it.
Yeah, you
well,
lose,
when I pick this game up again in August, I will remember that.
You get your weapons back, but you can't use your weapons during that mission.
Okay.
Yeah. So you end up picking up. So essentially, in that mission, you end up picking up random off the people that you encounter. But like the thing is though, like going back to what Daz said earlier, like about meeting, like flatlining against opponents that either you weren't ready for, you ran out of ammo. I've not had the issue. I've not flatlined from running out of ammo. I've flatlined because I've met opponents that were higher ranked than me, and I was kind of like, oh, this is awkward. So earlier this week, when I was streaming the game, one of the guys in my chat was like, "Yo, Lance, have you found out about this?" I'm like, "No, what is it?" He goes, "If you go to this area," and he sent me like literally screenshots of like, "Go to this area. There's a legendary here for you to pick up." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, there's a free legendary just in the world." And I've literally since then I've discovered there are so many legendaries in the game you can pick up without realizing they're just there. There's some in the most randomest places, and there's some where you're like, "Oh, you can just go back and get this" type of situation. So there's one where I got the legendary Mantis blades. Obviously seen for the trader, he's got the blades that shoot out from the arms. I picked that up for free, just off the world, and I was like, okay, that's sweet. I got another one where it was you get the mono wire, the one where you like the go up from Hitman. There's a one where you can pull one of those up. Yeah, I think it's called the mono wire. I think it's what it's,
it is
the thing. So I've got the legendary version of that, and I was like, sweet. I've got that equipped. There's one where you can pick up a legendary revolver, which I use as my main weapon. You can get the Corpo legendary armor suits. They're available in the world to pick up. Like that's the jacket and the trousers. I have a legendary sunglasses, I think, as well, which is part of the Corpo one. Like I don't know if there's a Streaker one, but apparently there's a Corpo legendary armor set and there's a
Nomad.
Thank you. I completely forgot what the other one's called. I was going to say like Gypsy, but you know. The Nomad one. There's a Nomad armor set, which you can get. And I'm not going to say his next bit, but Dad, you know Jackie's gun? You can get them in the world as well. So there's a way to get that. I got the Akira bike in the game. So for those of you who obviously know Akira, there's a Cyberpunk version of that bike in the game, which I picked up, and I was kind of waiting for that to pop up, because it's obviously Tex, you'll see this when you play. As you progress through the game, and Senpai user, when you progress through the game, certain fixers in different regions will contact you to be like, "Yo, V, what's happening? Welcome to my area. Come say hello to me, you douche. We've got some cars for you, or some vehicles for you." And you're like, "Oh, that's some nice vehicles." Yeah.
Still can't afford most of the stuff that they send me. It's like,
however, though, if you should be able to get this, Daz. You should be able to get the fastest car in the game at this point, because you can essentially get the game's version of the Bugatti Veyron for free.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I got the Akira bike, which is now like one of my main rides, and I love that bike to death, because it's apparently classed as the fastest bike in the game. And if you're on a straight, it's really, really awesome to see how quick you can get up to speed on that one. I this week got the bigger the Veyron. I'm just going to call it the Veyron, but that's what it essentially is. I got that for free after having gone back to the place where you get it 6 times and not have it spawn for me. I'm like, I've done the mission that unlocks this bit. Give me the freaking car. Keep driving there. I'm like, it's not here. Drive back. Come back a little bit later. It's still not here. Drive back. Come back. It's like, oh, okay. I think it was on either Thursday or Friday of this week that I finally got the car. I was like, finally, I've got the Veyron. And just been driving around it. Now, the problem I have with one of the other things I have with this game is the driving in this game. There's too much oversteer and there's too much understeer. There is no balance.
Yeah, somehow these cars can oversteer and understeer at the same time. It's incredible.
It's amazing how to do it. It's like, how?
Even
how
the bikes have a turning circle that makes a tank look like it could do a hairpin.
It's crazy. I mean, I give it one thing though. The city itself, Night City, when you're driving around, oh my god, that game is stunning. Absolutely stunning. Now, obviously, I don't have a 30 series cards to take full advantage of the RTX.
I'll be honest, I haven't been playing it with the RTX on. It tanks the frame rate too much at the moment. A lot of people have said RTX is broken at the moment. It absolutely destroys the frame rate.
Because I've seen some footage of people running it with RTX on, and it looks freaking stunning.
It does look stunning, but for me, it tanks the frame rate.
Yeah, but that's the thing like that. Just driving around, and this is another thing. Because Dinko brought this up for me the other day when we were streaming, and he popped in, and I was like, when you're driving around on the city and you're trying to avoid people on the street, they tend to do this thing where you're like, oh, okay, I'm just going to swerve slightly around you. They'll jump backwards onto the vehicle. And you're like, nah, this happened.
Yep.
Found
that several times.
And there was like a police vehicle. There was 2 police officers just literally opposite the road. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to turn into this building. Oh, I've stopped. Don't want to hit the people crossing the road. Let me just go around this lady who's in the sexy hot pants. She jumps backwards and gets hit by my bike and falls on the floor. I'm like, wow, you're just cruising for a lawsuit. The minute I hit her, police issue a warrant on me. I'm like,
to be fair, you can.
Me.
You need to play Watch Dogs.
You can seize in the police on Cyberpunk, and they will go for you. One of the things that really pissed me off, I must be honest, I have to say, is there's a mission in the game, as a side mission, where you have to check on a retired police officer because he's depressed.
I've got that one.
So I go and check on him, have a chat with him, all the rest of it, and then. Ever so slight spoilers here. I came back later and he had killed himself. And the police officers were by the door and they were grieving. And I was trying to listen in on their conversation. No word of a lie. They turned around, looked at me, and started shooting at me. Oh my god! And these were the same police officers. A mission back that I'd been talking with, saying I'm trying to help him out, and they saw me and just started shooting at me. I was like, "What the fuck?"
I picked up the start of that mission just before I stopped playing.
Yeah, I picked it up. I was doing the.
Well, you probably can save him. I probably just wasn't.
I could see where it was going, but yeah.
Yeah, that pissed me right off. I'm trying to listen in on the conversation, then they just turn around and start shooting at me. I'm like, for Christ's sake!
Like, you're the.
There's actually a video on YouTube where someone is walking around. They get spotted by the police, so they run up to their apartment. They open their apartment door, and there are 6 police officers already in their apartment, and they just get. Because there's a spawning problem with the police at the minute. That was so funny. It's just a few of the problems. Like I said, there's a wonderful game in here. It's just not quite there. The story had me invested. Waiting. The side stories had me invested. It's just the quality of life stuff and the performance and I do get slowdowns for the most part. I get a good frame rate when I'm out in the Badlands. I get a very consistent 70-80 frames a second. But when I'm banging through the middle of the city, it can dip into the 20s easy. And it does ruin things a little bit. All stuff that can be fixed, but it's given everyone a sour taste. As obviously Senpai, it's given him a very sour taste because he's backed out and he's going to wait.
Not at all. Okay, so I was never ever a part of the hype train over the last 10 years for this game. The only interest that I started getting piqued was from doing this podcast and from managing to pick the game up for 25 quid with all of the Witcher collection. That was the only interest.
You're most welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. I've never ever been that invested in this game. I played it for the launch weekend and didn't have any issues playing it at all. The only issues I had was obviously hardware and trying to stream it, but I also said when I started being interested in it, that this was going to be one of the games that was going to be for me. It wasn't going to be like a stream
game. Yeah.
I've started really enjoying the launch weekend and sort of played around with the idea of trying to stream it. Looking at the hardware and everything that I've got at the moment, it's not possible.
No,
So,
I mean, you saw my streams. I tried to do it myself with my 1080 in there, and even I struggled. Now, obviously, there are 1 or 2 games that I do struggle with, Warzone being one of them, Cyberpunk being another, and even my PC just couldn't handle it. No matter what it was, it just would not run unless it was on permanently ultra-low graphics kind of thing, and like the lowest of quality settings and highest performance settings on the stream. That was the only way
I call the Ubisoft settings.
Exactly. So the way that, like, as you know, the way that I've gone to get it working now is I've literally paid up front for 6 months worth of GeForce Now, so that I can connect to a cloud PC and stream it off. That's the only option I had available.
Really? How much is that?
There's no free version.
£25.
There's 6 months. It's 25 quid for 6 months.
25. Okay, so that's not bad. Okay, I thought it was like £25 a month.
No, it's £25 for 6 months. It's £5 a month.
That's not bad.
And I get a month free. So
yeah, not bad then. Okay, I was a little bit like, you just pay £25 a month for 6 months on this. I don't think you're going to be playing Cyberpunk for 6 months, dude.
Well, in all honesty, I'm already up to 21 hours in. Now, obviously, while I'm streaming it, I'll play it on the GeForce Now. But otherwise, if I'm playing it just myself, I'll play it on my own PC.
Yeah.
Purely for the fact of being able to actually run it at the higher resolution and still get a semi-decent frame rate on high settings.
Yeah. On my 1060, I could play high easy.
I mean, we could go on about Cyberpunk for a long time. We could dedicate an entire podcast to it, but yeah. I think I might class it as the best unfinished game of 2020.
It's got the potential. Like
It
as I said,
has so much potential.
I haven't been on the 8-year hype train.
8 years, I think it was announced back in 2012. Yeah.
I've only been paying attention since I think it was E3 last year. I was the first time that I heard about it.
Keanu popped out. I think it was when kind of really took massively in.
I just want to come out and say, not really much of a spoiler, but I couldn't help but feel throughout my entire experience playing that Keanu's voice work as Johnny, there were several times where it almost sounded bored.
Do you know what? I get that. I get that. There's a diner scene.
I know that Keanu,
you're meeting with somebody and he kind of comes in and he just doesn't sound invested at all, does he?
Keanu has always got a very, I say, monotone sounding voice. That's probably not the correct term. No,
he does. He has a very monotonous voice.
He's proven that he has a very emotive range with that tone of voice. There are many times in this game where I don't think he was using the correct emotion in his voice, and some of the way he delivers some of the lines sounds very plastic.
He sounds like Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, he sounds very plastic, and even during the more drastic scenes, the acting just didn't seem there. Being able to play alongside a Keanu Reeves character is fun, and you do grow to like Johnny. Johnny is an asshole, straight up a dickhead, but you grow to he is a lovable dickhead by the end of it. If you follow the right path anyway. And this isn't a spoiler, but I'll let you guys in on this anyway. There is a secret ending to Cyberpunk that basically has him do something nuclear, let's put it that way. I had no idea it existed, but if you do a very specific series of events and you get far enough in his story before the end, if you do a very particular thing at the end when you're given a particular choice and you wait long enough, he will basically say, you know what, fuck it, I'm doing it.
Yep.
And it introduces you to what many have described as the hardest mission in the game. You have to go through the whole entire ending of the game without dying. If you die, credits roll, game over.
No way.
If you win, unfortunately, I found you only get one of the 2 endings you can get anyway. It's not a special ending, which really disappointed me because I was all but ready to try and see if I'd gone far enough to do that ending. And I was like, I'm going to give this a go. I'm going to go from I'm going to see if I can one-shot this. And then I found out that the ending that you get is one that I've already seen. And I was like, I'm not doing that.
Not going to
Because I
bother.
can see me getting wound up, getting killed, having to play the credits, having to go back to the save point because you can't save after a particular point. So I'd have to go through all that dialogue again and then try again. I was like, I ain't doing that, which is a shame. But if you want to go for it when you get there, let me know. I'll show you how to do it. If you want to give it a go and you think you've gotten high enough on the Johnny scale, which is apparently a real thing in the game, there's apparently a Johnny friendship meter in the game. The game doesn't show you, doesn't tell you or anything, but if you make the right choices and you do the right things with him up to the point, then the option becomes
The stats
available.
are there. Yeah.
So yeah, lovable asshole. I hate him, but I love him. But I just felt like the voice acting was a bit plastic.
I'm not gonna lie. I maybe I'm not as far as far in comparison to how you don't. But every time I've had a scene with Keanu, Johnny Silverhand, I've enjoyed the dialogue. I admit the diner scene, he did seem a little bit bored, but I think that may have just. I don't think he really understood what that scene was. Obviously, he might have played it slightly differently.
Yeah.
See, when they did their Night Sea episode, where the last one before the game released, and they literally went, "Here's a behind the scenes of Keanu Reeves doing his
motion capture and stuff."
His his onesie work.
He was having fun. You could see he was having a ball. He was absolutely loving it.
Yeah, like those are probably like the scenes where he was like he could actually fully go out on it. But there were probably some scenes like the diner scene where they probably didn't really explain to him what was coming from that. So he was like, "Oh, let me interpret it this way and then do this," and they were like, "Yeah, let's stick with this." So
you also have to look at it like from a production perspective. It could have been one of the first scenes that he'd done as the character.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah,
they film it just because a video game is linear, just because a film is linear, doesn't mean that they film it at the same time.
As well. Yeah.
No, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
He may not quite have got the range that he wanted from the character at that point because he didn't quite understand what the character was.
I did feel like that was the same through even the late game. While on the other hand, other characters, like our 2 female main characters that are on side, Lance will know who they are. Judy is one of them because I'm sure everyone had met Judy by this point.
Yep.
And there's another comes in later. I think the voice work for both of those female characters fucking outstanding.
Yeah.
The emotion and everything that's put into their voices later in the game and how the events transpire. Wonderful. And even the characters at the camp where you meet the other character, Lance might probably know who I'm meaning. All the voice work for the characters there, fantastic. And for the most part, the voice work for V, male and female, spot on.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some of the female stuff of V, but no, I have to admit the voice work for V, very impressive, very good. Well done.
Very good.
Like there are many things you can moan about in Cyberpunk, but they have done a lot, visually right, vocally right. Like there's a lot that I would be like, this is really done well. I would give them props for doing this and taking the time to. I mean, yes, there's a counter argument like they could have obviously spent more time on the game as opposed to having it rushed to now. But I think that was probably a decision that was well out of the developers' hands in terms of like who was invested in this.
I think the reason why the game is sitting in the position that it is that the game was pushed out the door before Christmas.
Yeah.
They pushed it out the door. The devs were saying this game is not ready yet. Mm-hmm. And yet the investors and the higher ups were like, we've delayed it 4 times now. We can't.
Yeah, that's the problem with society at the moment.
It's got to go.
Within this society at the moment, that is the problem.
The game is not finished. Look at it. Look at the state of it, for crying out loud. And but I have no doubt that it will eventually come to be what it was meant to be. Mm-hmm. The Witcher, when The Witcher 3 came out, it was a rocky start. It was buggy. It had problems. And looking at it now, it's fucking
considered one of the best games of the decade.
It's outstanding. I have no doubt that in time they'll make this what it needs to be.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
I think for me, what it is as well is the fact that as you rightly mentioned, like even with the developers, we're probably all saying that no, the game is not ready or anything else like that. It was delayed. 4 times, as you say.
I mean, imagine if it had been released back in April.
Oh,
Oh,
I mean,
Yeah,
Imagine if they pushed it in April.
oh my
it
god,
would
if that
have
had come out in
flopped
April,
even
that would-
harder.
It would have been incredible.
I'm pretty sure if it had come out in April like it was originally intended to, I'm pretty sure we'll be having this conversation as like one of the games that came out that was so not ready to be released. It would have been all of us would probably been like,
It's
would
it
early
wouldn't be on
access.
sale at
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah, it
It
would
was-
be. Yeah,
yeah,
Nowhere
it
would be
would have been like
selling
it's
it.
an early access game. Yeah,
it
crazy.
would have probably
CD
been.
Projekt Red launching an early access game after 10 years.
It would have been a repeat of that poor excuse for an Amazon MMO that they released that lasted
Mhm.
6 months before it was killed.
Yeah,
What game was that?
What's it called?
I don't even remember what the name of it was.
I'm thinking something like Crucible.
Yeah,
I
that was
remember,
it.
Yeah,
Crucible.
I remember that. Oh
It
god,
lasted 6 months, and
Oh
they
my God.
canned it.
oh, that's not surprising. I remember I seen all the promotion work for that.
I downloaded it. I tried it out, and it was a train wreck. I could not get my head around what I was meant to be doing. I think I played it for about half an hour and went, I have not got a clue because the game was just not telling me. The game ran like crap as well.
Wow.
And then, like 2 weeks after I played it, they actually binned it. They pulled it, and they then released it in invite-only beta. But anyone who had played it when it was released could still get in. And they tried to fix it by removing all the modes that everyone said was broken. So the game had one mode, and then they binned it.
Yeah, I think
God.
they scrapped off the entire development team as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
The whole kind of
They
company for it.
completely
Which,
scrapped the whole thing
Really? They scrapped the
Yeah.
entire thing? Wow.
because the game just it
it
to
tanked.
say it never got off the ground would be polite. It never hatched.
There's been a lot of ET games this year.
Yeah, games that just have released in completely broken states.
Mhm.
Agreed. I think it's probably boiled down. Okay, before we go into that, we mentioned the Game Awards earlier as well. Can we just talk about the travesty that was this year's Game Awards?
I didn't watch it, so I
Didn't watch it. No idea.
I didn't watch it, but I saw the results. I'm not gonna lie, I don't understand how Last of Us 2 won as many awards as it did.
No,
I
played
really
it.
don't.
Please tell me that I'm not the only person that was pissed off that Doom Eternal won nothing.
Like, I know Doom Eternal was nominated for
Mick Gordon
Game
didn't
of
even
the
get
Year.
a score awards, and
I
Mick
was gonna
Gordon's
say-
the best.
Mick Gordon, the Doom soundtrack is just incredible, and it lost. And I was to like The Last of Us, and I was like,
But The Last of Us had a soundtrack.
I'm sorry. Okay, talking about overrated games, Last of Us don't get it. I don't. I've
enjoyed the
tried to
first
play
one.
the first one 3 times, and I just haven't got on board with it.
I haven't finished the first one, but
Yeah.
what I played, I very much
No,
enjoyed.
nor have I.
Yeah.
But
I-
I don't know. But I just had no interest in the second one.
No,
I don't know. What it was.
I don't think that the second one was as big as the awards ceremony made it out to be.
Mhm, mhm.
Definitely not. Here's for Last of Us 1, I understand why people liked it. I watched a fair amount of people stream it, and I enjoyed the storytelling that was in it. I saw like the relationship between Ellie and Joel grow, and I like that. I mean, from a narrative perspective, visually for a game that was on like the PS4, and it was like, was it at the end of the PS4? Like
It was the end. It was mid PS3, and then it was
PS3,
remastered for the
PS4.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah, that was it. So for a game that was on PS3 and then went on to PS4, and it's still regarded as like one of the best ones they've ever done, I was like, this is a great game.
I won't dispute that it's a fantastic game. It
Yeah.
is. It is a really good game with a great narrative.
Yeah, I feel like that with Last of Us 2, with everything that was wrong with that game, the controversy and such, I was kind of like, there is no way this game should be like in the nomination for the awards. And the fact that it won as much as it did really threw me. Like, it should not have won Game of the Year, not by
The thing is, a lot of
From
people
what I've
have
heard,
been
the story is really good, and that's about it.
Yeah,
a lot of people have been
it won on-
speculating that it was actually the Game Awards were slightly rigged this year.
I read the
A
article.
lot of people have read that it was not properly voted upon. All the rest of it, they actually just given the awards to this game because they can.
They also spent half of the award ceremony playing Pokemon Go, and I didn't understand that.
I didn't see that bit, but
There was a
I
chance for you
literally
to
just
catch
saw-
like shiny Woompers or something like that. What? Why? What?
Okay.
What? What the
Right.
fuck is going on?
Okay.
Here?
They gave you a chance to catch shiny Crash Bandicoot fruit? What?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, why didn't I hear of this?
It's-
Crazy.
Like they
By the way,
kept, they kept cutting to this woman who was playing Pokemon Go and saying that if you were joining in with the Game Awards, you could get like shiny. Are they called Woompers? I don't know.
No.
But
I just want to deviate for 10 seconds, but just to put out there, I have played the new Crash game, Crash 4. Fucking fantastic. So if you like
Nice.
Crash, go play that.
Yeah.
No thanks.
The
I don't want
new,
to.
the new Crash is fantastic. It's not quite as balls difficult as the other ones. The end is balls difficult, but the rest of the game is fantastic. And I won't go into it now because it's getting on.
Yeah.
But that game, one of my favorite content creators on YouTube, he religiously plays the Crash games. He released an hour and 40-minute video on why that game is not fun to play after you finished it, because the things that you have to do to complete it 100+% is just obscene.
Wow. But yeah, like
I would
but-
recommend I would recommend if you're interested in watching it, I'll link you it. It's a very interesting watch, and he's a joy to watch. But when he just there's a Crash game and then there's padding a Crash game.
But yeah, but back on but just to finish up on the Last of Us at the Game Awards thing, the one award that I would say that Last of Us did deserve was one for Laura Bailey for her work as Abby in it, because she got so much. But this year she got so much grief for that role. I'm like, unnecessary grief.
She got death threats and all kinds of stuff. It was incredible.
It's insane. And the thing is, I know her. It is. I that for me is where cancel culture was at its peak and probably the worst it could have been. Like I was
the Cyberpunk devs have been given death threats.
Yeah, I mean, they always do.
These people, it's just I don't understand ever.
It's crazy that they're going to that length to be on a game.
Over a game, I mean, for Christ's sake.
Over a game. Like Laura Bailey, she's a voice actress that I knew from Dragon Ball. So if you've watched Dragon Ball Z, she was the voice of Android 18. So I was kind of like, holy crap, okay, she's been around the industry for years. For her to get shit for a performance in a game is amazing. Like, if anything, it was like this is the one thing you should be appraising her work for, because she had to do something with a performance that, to be fair, could have gone really, really bad, but she made it work. But that was like the only award I feel like I personally think they should have won. Like, they should have got, like, for her doing that role of what she went through, she definitely deserved it. The others, not so much. Like, I really don't think that. In my personal opinion, I think Ghost should have won Game of the Year. Yeah, I personally think it should have. That game from beginning to end, because I've watched several streams on it. I was even watching Tex play it for when he did. The game is still visually beautiful for me. It's one of the most fantastic looking games. I think the story for it's awesome. I don't remember much of the soundtrack, if there was a soundtrack, but it's still.
I think it had a very ambient soundtrack.
Yeah, it's still a great game nonetheless. So I feel like they were robbed, but I think they did walk away with a award.
They got a couple.
I think so.
I did get a couple. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like Last of Us sweeping the board was a little bit like
expected.
Yeah.
Weird, expected, but at the same time, really, really, it just puts
left
it in
a bad aftertaste.
Yeah, there you go. That's a better way of putting it. Yeah, it's just
and just to cap it off, there was also the announcement for a new Perfect Dark game and Mass Effect
Legacy Editions.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one.
I was so happy when I saw that trailer. I brought a tear to my eye.
I might have to pick up a new Xbox for the new Perfect Dark, because I have a soft spot for that game.
Wouldn't they release it on PC? I'm pretty sure every
console
exclusive they've got is also coming to PC as well now.
Yeah,
Perfect Dark. Okay,
yeah,
all right, fine. To be fair, I'm interested in picking up one of the new Xboxes for a different reason, anyway. So.
What you
why when you have a PC for your porn?
No,
porn in 2020. Come on, bro.
The Xbox Series X and Series S have dev modes unlocked, and the wonderful community, the wonderful community has managed to get a large amount of emulators and all kinds of stuff running properly through the Series S and Series X, and they run very well,
including PlayStation 2 games.
And yeah, exactly. A lot of people are ribbing on Sony right now because why can the Xbox play PS2 games but the PS5 can't? But no, I mean, what people are doing with the dev mode on there and the fact that Microsoft is giving creators this freedom, there's some cool stuff happening. So for that reason, and the fact that the S is quite affordable, really, at £250, I'll pick one up as and when they're not like
£250.
Yeah.
when they're not got like gold dust and they're double that price.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of consoles, I mean, I got the PS5 at launch, so considering the way things were with everyone who was trying to get one, it's actually quite lucky I got mine sorted and sitting quite nicely there. And it's a big boy.
It's a meaty boy.
You got the PS5, I got a 3080. We both got lucky.
Yeah, we did get very lucky. But
and you're both arseholes.
Well,
Great.
2020 has been a good year.
Oh, it's been a good year.
I'm allowed to be an arsehole this year. Give me this.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, thank you very much for joining us for this episode of the Crusaders podcast. Lance, thank you very much. Tex, thank you very much. PSP Gamer /Daz, thank you very much. It's been a year.
Yes.
It's been a year. A lot has happened. Good, mostly bad. We're going to be back in 2020.
Will go down as a year.
We're going to be back in 2020 -2
version 2.
2020 2.0 maybe. I don't
think I want to affiliate next year with this year at all. Let's just move on.
Should we just say that? Yeah, let's go to.
We'll be back in the new year
5 or something. We are. I know we said this in September, but we are going to be back with season 2 of this podcast at some point. Hopefully in January. I think we're going to have some momentum and a little bit of oomph to get it going again.
Maybe.
But thank you very much for joining us.
Optimism, man.
Thank you very, very much for joining us. It has been an absolute pleasure. However you celebrate this time of year, whether or not you celebrate it at all, however you're allowed to celebrate it, I hope you do so.
Londoners, we're here for.
I hope you do so safely, and remember those of us who aren't allowed to celebrate it with our families. Have a great new year, and we'll see you in 2020 / whatever we're going to call it. Have a good one, guys. We're out.
Have a good one. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everyone.